Hi. Here we've got a mid-century, I don't know what, 1935 schoolhouse desk. Kind of a departure for me from my normal stuff, but it's wood and metal. Needs to get taken apart. All the pieces need to get refreshed and finishes reestablished. It's all here. I've got all the parts. I've even got I'd already taken off the tightening bolts, or actually, to get it here, I took the tightening bolts off so I could pull the stem for the seat and the desk off. So I removed these. These are fascinating little tightening bolts. They're right-hand threaded on one side and left-hand threaded on the other. So they tighten with a wrench in the center and lock in. So we'll keep those. The thing that's going to sort of push me a little hard is some parts, like the threaded portions, can't be painted, but the other parts, like the ends of these things, really should be. So I'm going to have to do it a little bit differently, set up the screws and paint the ends of them before I put them together. But all in all, it's sand, because the finishes are shot, worn through. Pull all the wood off, sand it all, rub probably 2 coats of tung oil on it. I want it thin because it's a desk. And sand and remove the rust and the remaining paint from the metal parts, and spray can a couple of coats of paint on, nothing fancy. I've been having pretty good luck. Modern spray cans are great. They don't glop, they don't spit. They put on nice smooth coats. It's all operator at this point. Anyway, this seems relatively uncomplicated. I've got a granddaughter coming to visit in a week and a half, and this would be perfect for a little stage setting for an afternoon of drawing or something. So, pressure's on. I've got the talent. You've got the time. Let's tear through this thing. Metal base, and got the tops from the chair and the desktop off, the metal base, and got the clamping collars off. They appear to be identical, so I don't have to track them. Suggests that the stems are the same size. The stem on the desktop and the stem on the seat appear to be the same. This is welded, not terrible marks. They're pretty clean. And one of them has a little formed collar to go over the ragged spot at the top. This one has a collar also. It doesn't seem to come off, and I can leave it there just as easy as not. So does look like this leg got bent back a little bit. It seems to be landing awkwardly, and there's so it sort of suggests that it should rotate forward, and I can see a little bit of a wrinkle right there. I'm assuming coming off the truck it got bent. That's annoying as hell. It's probably going to be a trip to the metal shop to heat this up cherry red and bend it back into place. Just going to add another part of a day to the project. But it's got to be addressed. It can't go on like that. It's not the back legs. And I can see the front leg. This one comes down. It's tipped forward a little bit, but it comes down plumb. And this one, while it's tipped forward to about there, then turns in this area. And like I say, I can see a wrinkle right there. So I think I know what we're looking at. Anyway, that shouldn't stop me till I round up somebody with a torch and some clamps that can move this. In the meantime, I'll start taking screws off and taking these brackets off and trying to separate the pieces of wood from the pieces of metal. The chair has a little swivel component to it, and I don't know what that mechanism is. That I'll have to be careful with, because I can screw it up. The desk lid has metal brackets in it that seem to appear to serve as brakes so the thing doesn't come down and amputate fingers, which is great. I don't know anything about that either. But this should all unfold, and you know, hopefully pretty quickly. I'll do a little bit more taking apart on those pieces, and we'll see what they look like. This stuff, I love. I love this stuff. I just love this stuff. Turn of the century stuff, that sort of thing. Before the modern age. They've made bosses for the screws to set into to act as their own washers. Here they didn't do it, but they used round-headed screws. Two holes here I don't know anything at all about. There's nothing here that relates to that. Look at that. So they're the same size screws, that's good. Make a bucket that I'm going to put all of the screws into for a while. But this, most of the metal is just, you know, grungy. So there's the back, there's the seat. Let's do the simple part of the back. One of the splats, the lumbar support, pivots. So the only one of these that's attached is the top one. That started out, that's good. Which was enough to, oh boy, get the lumbar support to drop out. And it had a small washer at each end. One had two small washers at each end. Like that. Interesting. So it's got a little shape to it. It's like a spring washer. Very cute. Very cute. The seat back is held on with a screw that's almost a quarter of an inch shorter. If you remember that. This will certainly make refinishing these things a lot easier. And, you know, let's face it, turn the repainting of the metal into possible rather than just never live long enough to tape it all off. Now this is the way to do it. You don't do this often, and this is its time. So, grunge, just grunge, sweaty kid grunge. Hands, shoulders, just grunge. Probably wash everything first, and then and try to get what remains of the finish off. So first the dirt, and second the remains of the finish, and then just trying to smooth it up a little bit. Although I'm not going to try to make it look new, smoothing it up. So now that's wax. Wow. Maybe all I did with the seats were wax. Oh, that's like paraffin. Not as much over here. Interesting. Do I need to take that off? Yeah. Yeah, I do. It's got a unique screw. That's good. Remind me when the time comes that the point of this is not round. This is round and flattened on two sides, sort of looks like a baseball diamond. And it's pointing to the front. Looking at a little bit of a dislocation in the glued up part of the seat over here. I can live with it if it looks like that on the bottom, but if it looks like that on the top, I may have to do something. It's funny how your picture of things changes as you get more and more familiar with it. There's that. All right. Looks like some detents. Maybe some bearings that go inside those. Or a bearing that goes across there. Don't have to paint this side, it's great. Probably before I assemble, I'll spray a little lubricant in there. This gets shoved into the stem of the seat to about there. So I don't have to paint any further down. I ought to polish this so that it's smooth. This must be that bolt that provides the tension for the resistance for the pivot. All makes sense. I don't think I'm going to get very far into that. Now I've got the seat. That joint that I'm looking at here, actually it's a good joint. It's just the wood didn't plane out. You didn't have to get the thicknesses right. But on this side it's fine. I mean, I can see the line in the glue, but it's fine. It's fine. So that'll clean up. This is C. I obviously didn't get A, probably for a reason. Anyway, nice little shape to it, little, butt scallopy. Cute little kid. I can picture the kid in it, so for me it's going somewhere. Anyway, get to the top. This is possible. It's going to happen. This is the underside of the top. I'm going to see if I can zoom us down. And you can see that something's happened. We're missing a screw. And something has happened, probably when it fell off the truck. And then whacked this thing and broke the screw, ripped it out so that somebody took it. This has a little tab on it that's formed under that tucks underneath there. It obviously doesn't get that far. The other side does. You can see that this is quite angular. You can see that this notch right here for this tab to fit into is way out of alignment. It got whacked. So in the midst of all of this thing, I got to unwhack it, or it makes sense to unwhack it. Pick up a couple of screws. This inside bottom of the desk is a 3/4 inch thick board. So these screws really go into something. I was thinking it was a piece of 1/4 inch plywood or something like that, but it's really something because it also provides the support. This support, by the way, is patent applied for. I wonder how they did. Anyway, we'll do some work with the screws and we'll get some of this apart. Got the bottom out. Had to unbend a couple of metal edges that were crimped over. I'll dress them off a little bit better. That clamped the top of the face of this in place. The bottom came out with the bottom screws, except for the one that was sheared off. And the bottom was just sort of glued in with the detritus of 50 years of school kids. Anyway, so I'll have to dress this off a little bit because I bent it a teeny bit. That'll be simple enough. After I put it back together, I'll have a fresh coat of paint on it. I'll muss that up. I'll probably have to do a little spray touch-up. But all in all, this looks good. Everything seems to be working. I've got this little kickstand here, cast iron thing, which makes the desktop level if you wanted to work on it with something flat, maybe eating lunch. 2 screws, and that comes off. I think I'll just maybe I was going to say I was going to just shine this up and leave it as cast iron. It's got a little bit of the early paint on it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. See what happens. Anyway, now these bumpers are probably going to come off. I don't know what I'm going to do. Some sort of washer or something I'll have to put there. Next, I'm going to try to take the lid off. I think that this lid is held on with these straps, and these straps are sort of dovetailed into the top and only fastened at this end, so it allows the top to expand and contract and keeps it from cracking. If they put a screw in that end, it would have bound during seasonal motion. That's my guess. That's a metal screw. That's interesting. I wonder what that means. Yeah, it's a metal screw. It's a flathead bolt, right? Machine bolt. Chances are in the factory they assemble this in a different sequence than I am disassembling. But I don't know anything about this. So I'm going to do it this way. I can reach. Oh boy. Well, that happened. Oh. The tough one's the one that you can't reach. Oh well. At least I haven't chewed the slot up too much. Oh, longer screwdriver. Pardon the mess. Pardon my back. Alright, and we're back to the longer screwdriver. It's not the same blade size. Oh. Oh. Heat gun. Why is it even here? The trick is to get in there with the camera so you can get a palpable feeling for the pain that I'm going through. It's loose. I don't even know if I should be doing this. No, that was just a tough one. Everything looks fine. All right, now, I was going to say this should just slide out. That was easy. What holds these in? Don't really know. It's dovetailed. Tip it down. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see part of the dovetail. So these should just drive out. If they drive out at all. Why can't I leave them there? I know why. Oh, get a punch and a hammer, clamp it down, see if I can make anything happen. Under there. All right, got a punch. I don't know what it really ever was. Well, that, it's coming out. I wonder if it's worth it. Probably no one ever anticipated that someone was going to be doing this. No, it's working. The pencil tray, little holder that's inside on the back of the front lid, came out fine, except it turns out it was cracked. So it's triangular, so who knows how this works out. I threw some glue on it. I obviously set the clamp up with a clamp on the edge of the bench. Wrapped it with some wax paper. Forced some glue into the joint. The wax paper does a great job of keeping the glue from getting stuck to the clamps and all that, but sort of back together. Not anywhere near as much as I would like. Alright, I think I'm going to try this again. I've cut a groove in a block of hardwood, and this is tapered, so theoretically it should be self-aligning. And I'm going to get another clamp. I'll take this down, but I'll get another clamp and clamp the snot out of this thing and just drive this wedge shape into that groove. It's a piece of hardwood. It should hold up pretty well, and use that to do the clamping in and the clamping in alignment at the same time. That's what's going to happen, and I'm going to do that and get it done before I go see the blacksmith. Hopefully that'll work, and I can go back to what I was thinking I was going to do, which is go to the blacksmith. I love going to see the blacksmith. He solves all of my problems. So I'll set this aside. See you in a little bit. About a half of an inch. See what happens.